Hello, this is Richard Wilson. Today I'm coming to you from St. Port Lucie, Florida. I'm actually at the Club Med here, and I want to talk to you about hidden dangers of running a large single-family office. These are things that are not too exciting to talk about. They're not sexy to talk about at a conference, but they are important to discuss. These are also things that people aren't very proud of when they happen to them, so it can seem like these things don't happen very often when really they're happening all of the time. And it's a strange dichotomy of it being talked about very little, but when you compare how often these, three different bad things happen to someone versus a family office actually completing a large direct investment, it could be more often that this is happening, even though it's talked about 1/5 of the time compared to exciting potential investments. So the three things are: one is either blackmail or having like a mole inside of your family office. It's actually from a competing shop, a competitor, and they're actually working for you to relay information to the other family in your industry, whether you're in the coal industry or technology or defense industry. This can happen to you, and I've heard of this happening to a large single family office in New York where the sole purpose of someone working for them was to relay information back to another family. But more often there's blackmail by employees, someone saying, we're going to go public with what you did with that shell entity in the Cayman Islands, or we're going to go public with what happened with that sexual harassment, threat of a lawsuit or something else, that maybe the family didn't do anything wrong at all in anybody's eyes, but the employee feels like they have some leverage. And one of my clients, who's worth several $100 million, told me he's been blackmailed 10 to 12 times since he first became ultra wealthy. And I thought that was interesting and telling. We've had only one or two of those types of situations come up in my company, and they're very minor, and we had enough leverage just to make that go away with those employees, but that's not always the case for some families. Another thing that comes up, the second one, is embezzlement, so stealing of company assets or money. In our business, we have 4 operating businesses. We've had this happen one time. Luckily, we are able to, the same day the person was reported to us by another employee, verify that it was true and remove that person from the company immediately. And luckily the damage was moderate, it wasn't severe. This happens within many family offices because of lack of controls. Many times a single family office is not overly formally managed and run. Many times it's not respected for what it is, which is really almost a small business in itself, with the needs of payroll, an employee handbook, governance, rules, financial controls. And in our case, we had strong financial controls in place, but the one area where I wasn't very stringent, because it was saving me time not to add those extra controls, I now paid for it and basically, paid the ultimate cost of not having those controls in place. So I think, trust but verify is a theme that families have to operate in nowadays environment. And people don't like to talk about having to deal with employees, having stole money from them. It makes them not look smart to counterparties or people that might invest with them, or the people that trust them with their money currently. Third, the final thing would be cybersecurity and fraud. If you are hacked, you almost for sure don't want everyone around you to know that very publicly. At the extreme, you could be fined for releasing private data. But also it just really can hurt relations with co-investors or potential families that might partner with you if they think your operations are not secure. Many large families do spend several $100,000s on IT, and part of that spend has a security component to it. But I really see this not talked about enough and really not emphasized, especially for families with under $1 billion in net worth. I see this as almost non-existent topic for them. None of my clients in the $100 to $300 million range focus on this as a key objective or key concern, and I encourage them to do so more often. In the future, this will continue to be a growing concern as it hits the front page of the Wall Street Journal. More and more of blue chip, publicly traded companies with $5 million a year IT budgets still being penetrated by hackers. So I definitely encourage families listening to this and those that serve the industry to push your clients to put in stronger cybersecurity controls in place. So these are the 3 things I wanted to talk about today: was fraud and blackmail, embezzlement, as well as cybersecurity. I hope you found this valuable. If you work in the family office space, this is Richard Wilson from the Family Office Club. Please check out our website at familyoffices.com and grab our book on Amazon called The Single Family Office. Take care.